I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call to order the Wickliffe City Council meeting of April 22nd, 2024. Sandy, please call the roll.
Gallo.
Here.
Gerhardsman.
Here.
Jaworski.
Excused.
Koski. Here. Levon.
Here.
Soloto. Here. Thielman.
Here.
Approval of council minutes.
I make a motion we approve the council minutes from April 8th, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilwoman Koski, that the council meeting minutes of April 8th, 2024 be approved as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Gallo.
Yes.
Gerhardsman.
Yes.
Koski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Soloto. Yes. Thielman.
Yes.
Reports and communications from the Mayor, Safety Director.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I promised to keep you all updated on the local government fund, and here is the latest. So I said in my last update that the latest proposal included that there would be an equalization fund where the city would lose approximately $100,000. But we have since found out that they cannot have an equalization fund. They can't have a fund just sitting there. There's a lot more to it, but the latest proposal is spread out over 10 years instead of 7. The city's meeting on Friday to go over the latest proposal on the formula. By year 10, the formula would be population-based. Townships are once again better off. We stand to lose if this goes into play around $400,000, which is a little bit better than it was originally. The council meeting on April 25th has been canceled, and the budget commission meeting will be May 16th, 6 p.m. at Auburn, and the Lake County Auditor will let you guys know. He's gonna email all of council and all the cities if anybody wants to go, just to get like an in-depth of what's going on with the local government fund. So we got the railroad crossing update for everyone. After speaking to people from CSX Railroad, I'm proud to report that they're going to be here the week of May 6th to fix the Lloyd Road tracks, the north set. They will be closed between Lakeland and Euclid Avenue for a week. Access to all local businesses will be maintained during the repair. And I'm excited to let everybody know that originally they were just going to do repair kind of like the other set of tracks, replace the railroad ties and then asphalt. But we were notified on Friday that because of our patience and assistance with this matter, they're gonna do a full rubber repair. And they said the public will be very happy. Full depth rubber is just a lot better than it was. So very happy to report that. And then thanks to all who came out for the State of the City and State of the Schools last week. Tomorrow I will be presenting at the Western Lake County Chamber of Commerce. State of the City's breakfast with the other mayors from all the Western Lake County cities, and that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the Mayor, Safety Director? Thank you, Mayor. Reports and communications from the Director of Law.
Nothing to report.
Any questions or comments from the Law Director? Thank you, Jeremy. Communications from Council President. I have none. Amendments or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to administrators. Police Chief Bush.
Thank you, Council President Ron. I only have a couple things. I have some bad news that one of our lateral transfers decided to resign this week. He's going back to Paynesville due to the fact that they have offered him money. So that's one of the evils when it comes with lateral transfers. They're just going to be chasing around money sometimes. So now we're 2 officers short. We're still, we have some interviews coming up, so hopefully we can get them replaced as soon as possible. He did not take the, he was not entitled to the signing bonus yet though, so we were able to not have to pay that out. So that is a benefit of that. The other thing is we've been starting with the nice weather, we've been starting to get a lot of speeding complaints. Rockefeller Road specifically, I had officers down there today for over 2 hours. They stopped a number of cars, however the fastest speed was 33 miles an hour. So there is a traffic sign down there that's been up there for about a week now. I ask you guys if you get complaints and they want the trailer, the sign up, just forward them to me and I'll get they'll get put on a list and we'll get the sign put on whatever street we can as soon as we can. That's all.
Any questions or comments for the police chief? Thank you, Chief. Fire Chief Grossman.
The only thing I'd add is that Green Vision, we've continued to work with them in coming into compliance after the mulch fire last year. And the one thing that was held off was repair of the dry hydrants for fire water access for us. They've been down there working on those now that the weather's been better, and they're finalizing getting us water down there. So that would be a great help if we'd have a future incident down there.
Any questions or comments for the Fire Chief? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Chief, so tonight on the agenda is your part-time firefighters ordinance, the pay ordinance.
Yes.
So when you get time, on your pay ordinance, your part-timers, your line is up $32,000 from last year at the same time for part-time only. So when you have time, can you give us an explanation how, and I'll give you, there's one extra pay period from 24 to 23, but that's not $32,000 a pay period. So,
as I had said before, a lot of the increase of the part-time budget was due to our career staffing moving step increases where they get additional vacation because they're reaching the seniority level. Over their 0 to 1 year, they get a step at 5 years. We have multiple members that have been moving into that step. That's one of the reasons for needing increased part-time staffing to backfill those open shifts from the increased time off that the full-time employees have. That's one of many.
I understand that, but that's before your ordinance tonight to increase their pay. And so you're already at $94,000 at the end of March. You were at $94,000 and you only have $330,000, and that's before your increase, and then it's retroactive. So I'm just being mindful of where that money, you're already 32 more than last year already. So,
yeah, we've been working through issues like an on-duty injury, so we had additional staffing in order to maintain minimum staffing for that.
I just noticed there was an awful big increase in that line from last year.
It's a day-to-day management thing that I go through with staffing to try to reduce overtime, keep overtime in check, and keep us at minimum. So,
All right, thanks, Chief.
thank you.
Any further questions or comments for the Fire Chief? Thank you, Chief. Finance Director Hunter.
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing tonight.
Any questions or comments for the Finance Director? Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Engineer Formica.
Thank you, Council President. One thing to add to my written report, I was notified on Friday that preliminary applications for OPWC funding for the year 2025 is due next month. Service Director and I have talked, along with the Lake County Water Department, picked out a couple of projects that we'd like to apply for. So we'll be putting together a preliminary application for work on those streets, both water line replacement and resurfacing.
Any questions or comments for the City Engineer? Councilman Gerhardstein.
So, Pete, when we approved the road budget and the roads for this year, 2024, do you have a time span before those bids go out on the new roads that we?
We will probably have those out ready to go out to bid in 3 to 4 weeks. I'll have that ready to go out. The slab replacement program, because it's partially funded by this OPWC of this year's funding, we will not be able to award a contract for that until July, but we can still have it go out to bid now.
And then how is 296th Street coming?
Going well. They're planning on getting started within the next week or so. I talked to the contractor today, so maybe with either with the other under drains or starting the first quadrant of the pavement.
All right, thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Pete, talk along the same lines of 296. When we bid out Catawba, we are going to make sure that put something in the bid process that they go down Robindale or something else to keep them off 296,
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want a reminder on that. Any further questions or comments for the City Engineer? Thank you, Pete. Service Director Strouser.
Thank you, Council President. Just a couple things I wanted to make Council aware of. So as you all know, we're having some issues with salt, that we have to have. As of now, Morton has not backed off of their 90% commitment that we have to get. So I'm making some plans to, we stored some inside already, our bin is full, and I still have about 700 tons to order. I have a plan in place for it all, but I did want to let you know that I am going to use we have to order 90% of our commitment. I'm going to use between the 90 and 100% leftover money to to fund being able to store this. We're gonna store some down at the new service garage. We have to pour cement pad and stuff to meet some new EPA regulations, so I won't ask the council for any more money, but we'll use most of that salt budget up. And then I had one other thing is the roofing, the roof that you guys approved down at the service garage. We approved $175,000 in the thing, and so after talking with several contractors, had probably 6-7 quotes, people come out and look at it. We're gonna take a different approach on that roof, and it is gonna come in, I spoke with Pete's Engineers at CT. The original plan was to put down insulation and a new roof over top of the existing roof, and that was gonna be $175,000. What we're gonna do now is they're gonna clean it, neutralize all the rust, do a few spot repairs, and they're gonna basically put a rubberized coating over it that's guaranteed for 20 years. So, and it's only gonna be, for that same section, so it's gonna be well under $75,000. So we're gonna save a bunch of money there. But I did want to make council aware, and if anybody has any issues with this, we do have an issue with the police station garage roof. We have a couple of small leaks over at our service garage roof up here on Ridge Road. So I wanted to use some of those funds for that roof, because it is all for roofing. If anybody has any questions, or if you want to put it back in committee, whatever you want to do, let me know.
Councilwoman Saloto.
So you would be doing the same thing that you're doing with the rubberized whatever in the other spots?
The other spots are a different type of roof and everything. This is a metal roof that they're just gonna rubberize,
Right.
spray down, and they're gonna put a sealer over all the seams, and they spray it down. The police station roof is a flat roof. It's a little bit different procedure, stuff like that, but yeah.
Do major repair,
Mhm.
okay. Do you expect to need more funds than
No,
what's left over?
I expect to give the city back, at the worst case scenario, I'm expecting to give the city back half of that money, which
Oh, good, okay, great.
half of the $175,000.
That's what we like.
Any further questions or comments for the service director? Thank you, Ron. Building Commissioner Sack.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. I just got a few things to go over. I've been dealing with a noise complaint with Councilman Gernstein and the mayor for the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and we can't seem to locate where this sound is coming from. There's one resident on 291st that makes the complaints to us. Dino and I, actually Dino went down to PCC Airfoils. They thought it was coming from there in that industrial area. And he talked to the plant manager. They have not changed any machines, no rooftop heating and cooling or anything. And we just can't find where the noise is coming from. So we're still on it, and then it's kind of a mystery thing. I even had second and third shift on the service department. They've been helping us too. They couldn't pinpoint anything either. So in case that comes up, we're still working on it. Also, Norfolk and Southern, they put a microwave tower up on their property down by the old Cleveland Crane there. It's to go from Lorraine to Painesville and back to Wickliffe to bounce off. Just want to make everybody aware of that.
Any questions or comments for the building commissioner? Councilman Gerhardstein.
Ray, so I've received the same complaint from the gentleman on 291st Street multiple times. So I was down on 291st Street one morning at 4 in the morning, and there is a hum. And if you go down in front of PCC Airfoils, Director Strauser was down there too. He's heard the noise on 291st. We both agree it sounds like if you're right in front of the PCC Airfoils, that's where the noise seems to be coming from now. If you go down, you have to go down there early in the morning. The complaint's always in the middle of the night on 291st. I would imagine during the day he doesn't hear it as much because of the traffic on Euclid Avenue, but if you go early in the morning, you will hear the hum from 289th Street on 291st.
Okay.
Just so, and I believe Director Strauser's heard the same noise. And I honestly believe sometimes it's louder than others, because the gentleman on 289 said he hasn't heard it for like 2 weeks, and then he heard it again
it's like
over the
spotty.
weekend, yes.
Okay.
So I just to let
Check it
you know
out.
that,
Yeah.
I've been down there, you can hear it on 289.
Okay.
And second, on the arcades that opened, did the one arcade at the boardroom down at Wickwell Wall, that's open already?
That's open.
How long has that been open, do you
2
know?
weeks, I think a couple weeks now.
Okay.
The other one is getting ready, and they have their license, everything is secure on that, so
Okay,
they're ready to go.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, I just want, so it is 100% coming from PCC, right? And the noise, it's the mystery sound that even PCC don't know what it is. And police, have went down in that area to try to get the time, and I know it's coming late at night. So they did say that when they figure out what it is, that they're gonna try to.
And to go a little further, we understand if it's PCC, and like your email said, if it's an industrial area and there's nothing to do, I believe the resident will be fine. He's believed that he's lived there long enough that he's not heard that noise. And for the last, when he started, Ray, has it been six months or so?
A couple months, I would say.
So I believe the resident would be fine if we told him it was industrial, or if we could.
This is driving Dino, and it's crazy, because he's like, he can't figure it out, right? It really is, he's trying to get to this.
Trying to get it done.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments for the building commissioner? Thank you, Rick. Recreation Director, stop.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just one thing to add to my previously submitted report. The connection is at the printer right now, so should be able to start seeing the summer offerings and be able to sign up for all the stuff online pretty soon here. So that's it.
Any questions or comments for the Recreation Director? Thank you, Tim. I will now open the floor for audience participation. If anyone would like to address Wickliffe City Council, please stand, state your name and address for the clerk's record. These meetings are being recorded, so she has a microphone that can be used. It needs to be used, actually. So each person will have a 5-minute max amount of time. Would anyone like to address Wickliffe City Council? Mr. Specia?
Morning, Mayor, or good evening, Mayor, President, Mr. President, and members of the council. Thank you for hearing from me this evening. First and foremost, I want to thank you for reading both the email I sent to council this past week and the letter we sent about 2-3 weeks ago about our rezoning proposal, and that is the nature of my comments this evening. And most of what I will say this evening is very much contained in that email. I just wanted to make clear a couple of points. So as you do know, back in February 2017, we began this journey towards a new facility with a series of community meetings. And from the very first meeting, and there are people in this room that attended those meetings, over 200 people participate in total. The question was, what will we do with the old property, the middle school, and at the time the high school, because we didn't know where the new facility might go, and the elementary school property, what will we do with that? Okay, and the answer from the Board of Education from the very beginning, very simply was, we're going to do what's in the best interest of the city and the citizens of Wickliffe. Overwhelmingly, throughout the process, the board heard the community telling us we needed step-up housing, additional housing in the community for the very purpose, for the very reason of keeping families in Wickliffe and attracting more families to Wickliffe. So the Board of Education had that as a primary goal. That was the primary goal throughout the entire process. What we wanted to do was create an environment that was shovel-ready upon the completion of the new facility and shovel-ready for any developer who may come in, knowing full well that if it wasn't zoned accordingly, it wouldn't be very attractive to developers. Consequently, we wanted to make sure we also were meeting the needs and meeting the wishes of the community. So we contracted with a surveying company, to conduct a survey of the community to see what the community wanted. The survey company, and I make this point because it's important to understand, the survey company's main offices are in Columbus, Ohio, and Washington, D.C. And I say that only because to make sure there was no conflict of interest by anyone in any local organization. To that end, very simply, the survey was conducted between April the 24th and May 3rd, 2023. The survey was determined to be scientifically accurate with a confidence measure of 95%. Please understand that a survey, polling, any of those kinds of things is done with a sample of a community, not the entire community. If we were going to go to everybody in the community, that would be what is called a census. We didn't do a census, we did a survey, we did a poll. Accuracy, again, measured 95%. Going through all of this, I reported the findings to City Council some time ago. I guess that probably would have been June of 2023. And in fact, 60%, a compelling number, according to survey people, said that they wanted single-family homes. And in fact, only 9.5% of the sampling preferred apartment-type housing. As a reminder, demographically, the survey represented all demographic groups in the city. Based on the survey data, the board then contracted with the land surveying company to create a zoning proposal to take the planning commission. Simultaneously, I began working with developers on how the property was to be used. Throughout the process, I have worked with 7 different developers. I'm still working with 7 different developers at this time, and the surveying company. Surveying company built a plan for us. We brought that plan to Planning Commission. That plan included some commercial zoning for the front of Euclid Avenue, some R150 zoning, some R160 zoning. The Planning Commission turned it down. The Planning Commission wanted all R160 lots because they wanted a little larger lots. We went back to our surveying company. We asked them to make the modifications requested by the Planning Commission, brought that back to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission approved the R160 lots. Okay, throughout the process, there was a member of Planning Commission who asked for R175 lots. We took that request seriously. We went back to our surveyor. Our surveyor drew us a quick map of what R175s, R160s would look like. I also took that to the developers. Now, this is where things become very interesting. The developers, when they heard about R175s, backed up. Not interested, can't do it. Okay, and the reason why they can't do it, and I brought my contemporaneous notes with me about that. These were all 7 developers, by the way. With R175s, there's fewer lots. That drives the cost of development up. They need to make money. That's a quote, okay? The lots become more expensive, the houses become more expensive, and it likely prices out local developers. They can't afford to invest in that kind of property in our community. That then creates a higher price point for houses. It also creates a lower price point for the Board of Education. They will not pay the kind of money that property is worth if we try to buy or if we try to zone and sell R175 lots. What they ended up telling me is they believe, according to their market research, the price point in the Wickliffe area goes somewhere between $350,000 and about $450,000 for homes. We go beyond that, and we're going to price ourselves out of the market. Anyway, what the Board of Education did, and I'll summarize, and I won't go through everything. What the Board of Education did was everything that the city and the Planning Commission asked. We were asked to do a survey. We did the survey. We came back with the results of the survey. We were asked to rezone after our initial proposal. We did. That was approved. Okay, we've done our due diligence. We've talked to and are working with 7 different developers on the property, and we believe this is an opportunity for the city. This is an opportunity to build new homes, new development in the city, to attract more people to the city, and more importantly, to keep our folks in the city. We think this is a great plan. We appreciate your consideration of the plan. We hope that you approve the plan this evening. I'll make one final comment. One of the things that folks don't always understand, and all of you do, so I'm speaking more to the general public, is as an organization, as a public body, we live and die on the taxpayer. Okay? School levies are never going to go away. Tax increases are never going to go away. By selling this property at the price point we believe it can sell for with R160s, we can, for the community, reduce our next ask as far as total millage goes. We can perhaps put off our next ask and then save our community a few dollars. Now, I can't sit here and say to the people in the community ever, I can't say this at one of my board meetings, let alone a city council meeting, we're never going to ask again. But if we could reduce the size of the ask, I think we do a service to our community. So very simply, we ask you this evening, as you consider this rezoning, to vote in favor of it. So thank you for that.
Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Go ahead, sir.
My name's John Farmer, 1830 East 290th Street. I just wanted to say thanks to the first responders. You guys are awesome, and I just feel safe at night. A phone call, you guys are there. And then for Joe, I was at an event this weekend, and it was your name come up. A lot of people was talking, and it's nice that they could call the office, and you don't turn a blind eye, shove it under the rug. You return their calls, and we thank you for that.
Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Vince? I'm sorry, thank you. I'm sorry. Would anyone else like to just... Hey, wait, sir, can you give it to Mr. DeSico back there?
Hi, Paul DeSico, 1836 Lincoln Road. I was in the, on a lot of the committees for the school when we were putting the bond issue together. We met with 50 to 100 of your constituents, council, and we discussed what to do with that property for a good solid year. And to a person, there's no doubt step-up housing was what we were looking for. We needed that. We did not want more rentals in Wickliffe. We did not want mixed-use housing. We wanted step-up housing like they put in at Lloyd Road, like they put it at Colby Court. That's what the residents wanted, and that was important to them. And those are your constituents, and any thought outside of putting a residency in there and having R60s like we talked about, I was at all 3 meetings. I missed the last 2 council meetings, but I was at the meetings leading up to that. I don't think all of council was there. I think it's important that you listen to your constituents. And I know, like I said, at least 100 folks that were in the planning and discussion of this project thought that was going to be residential and wanted that step-up housing. That's all.
Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? Would anyone else like to address Wickliffe City Council? If not, we'll mark audience participation closed. Committee reports. The Committee of the Whole met on April 15, 2024 at 7 p.m. to discuss food trucks, full-time mayor, and term limits for the mayor. Present, Bella, Gerhardstein, Jaworski, Koski, Levon, Thielman, excused, Soloto. Also present, Law Director Iosu and Building Commissioner Sack. Law Director Iosu presented an updated draft of the food truck ordinance. He highlighted the following modifications from our previous meeting. Special permits are not required for food trucks hired and paid for by an individual to provide food at no cost to their guests, or a business to provide food at no cost to their own employees. Food trucks must be approved by the Lake County Health District or other approved health departments or districts. Food trucks are not permitted to refuel their vehicle or generators at the vending site. They are allowed to refuel items to operate the grills or cooking equipment within the vehicle. And the approved areas and timeframes on the permit may be different for city-approved special events such as the hours of operation, overnight operation, or separation of food truck requirements, etc. Councilman Bela questioned the portion of the ordinance stating that no single food truck can conduct vending more than once a week at one property. He wanted confirmation that businesses can have food trucks every day, but a food truck can't be on the same property but once per week. I used to confirm that. A discussion ensued about the limitations that we should enforce on business owners. Councilman Thielman stated he would like no limits until we run into an issue. Councilman Jaworski expressed his concern that this could impact other restaurants in the city. Councilman Gerhardstein would like to see in the special events permits not required section a list of those types of events to make it more clear cut. Specifically the Fest, Rock the Mansion, the Bocce Tournament, Beats and Eats, etc. I used to said he could add these to the ordinance. The committee recommends the council to authorize the law director to create a food truck ordinance as presented. This item is reported on the committee. Councilman Bela wanted to hear the committee's opinion on making the mayor position full-time and removing the term limits. He stated that our budget is around $16 million and the city is changing, and to move forward, he believes we need a full-time mayor similar to the change that was recently made in Willowick. Councilwoman Koski expressed that she was not interested in a full-time mayor. She would prefer a city manager if we needed someone at City Hall full-time. Councilman Gerhardstein reminded the committee that nothing in the charter classifies the mayor position as full-time or part-time. There is no set amount of hours the mayor is expected to work. He would prefer a grant writer or economic developer instead of a full-time mayor. He's also against removing the term limits. Councilman Thielman reminded the committee that we just increased the safety director's salary by $10,000 recently. He thinks the best direction would be to have a planning director like they have in Mentor. Majority of the committee preferred not to increase the mayor's salary or provide health benefits to make the position full-time. They also were against removing of the term limits. The Charter Review Commission can review the charter again in 2027 to determine if they recommend removing the term limits on the mayor position. These items are reported out of committee, meeting adjourned at 7:40 p.m., respectfully submitted. I'll make a motion to authorize the law director to create legislation for the food truck ordinance.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Levon, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein, to authorize the law director to create legislation on the food truck ordinance. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bill.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Any commission reports? Seeing no old business, moving to new business A. Motion to move the May 27th meeting. I'll make a motion to move the May 27th meeting, which is on Memorial Day, to Tuesday, May 28th.
Second.
Moved by Council President Levon, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein to move the Monday, May 27th council meeting to Tuesday, May 28th. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Ordinances.
Ordinance, excuse me, ordinance number 2024-15, an ordinance providing for the compensation and other employment provisions for part-time firefighters of the city of Wickliffe, Ohio, and repealing any and all other ordinances or parts thereof that may be inconsistent with this ordinance, and this is the third reading.
Suspension.
Adoption.
Or adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Kowski, seconded by Councilman Bella, to adopt ordinance 2024-15 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Bella.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
No.
Kowski.
Yes.
Levon.
Yes.
Soloto.
Yes.
Steelman.
Yes.
Motion passes, or ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2024-20, third reading, an ordinance amending the City of Wickliffe zone map referred to in section 1341.80 of the Wickliffe Codified Ordinances, rezoning 4 parcels owned by the Wickliffe City School District in Wickliffe, Ohio.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Thielman, seconded by Councilman Gerhardstein, to adopt ordinance 2024-20 as presented. Discussion? Councilman Thielman? Go ahead, Councilman Thielman.
I have a couple questions. If this proposal fails and no changes are made to the text, does it need to be placed on 3 readings once again in order to pass? And does it require a public hearing? Do we know that?
We would have to go back to planning commission again, right? Or a developer or the school would have to come back with another plan to come through the planning commission again. It would have to be approved by them again. Another public hearing by the planning commission, another public hearing by the city, and then 3 readings of the ordinances. So yes.
Okay. Assuming it passes, can you explain, I'm not sure how the section 341.6 of the zoning amendment procedure works, that in the section that refers to a submission of a development plan, and also refers to council's improvement of such development plan. But I can't find any reference to how that procedure works. Is that something we actually get to vote on the development plan?
During the process, Tom, and we worked through this with the planning commission and the school board, this zoning here was just the zoning for the 60th and general business. Before anybody can put a development there, they have to come to planning commission with a development plan laid out and approved by the planning commission. And then once it's approved by the planning commission, then it has to come to council for a vote before that development plan can be approved and then go on ahead.
So that's the understanding, and we're going with that. Okay, that's correct. Okay, that being said, Chapter 1341 does give council some guidance when making decisions on zoning map amendments. Number 1 on that list, and that isn't by mistake, is the zoning map amendment. Is it consistent with any comprehensive plan we may have? Ironically, just a few years ago, we did a Euclid Avenue study. It started in 2021 and was completed in 2022. A steering committee of stakeholders was formed as part of the Euclid Avenue redevelopment plan. Public meetings were held, interviews were conducted, and a survey was done. The overwhelming response was that Euclid Avenue was outdated, old, and the surrounding land around Euclid Avenue was underutilized. People wanted new businesses, destination-type developments, and vibrancy. Of course, we all want that, right? Key suggestions were to, and I'm paraphrasing, revitalize large developable areas with community destinations, provide for mixed-use developments, provide for quality design, which is important to the residents, and create a unique identity using mixed-use developments. Additionally, the study pointed out that Wickliffe suffers from a national phenomenon of missing middle housing types, which cater to new shifting demands in residential environments, which include things like townhomes, duplexes, courtyard apartments, and residential above commercial structures. These types of developments attract young professionals and aging adults. We've seen that success throughout northeastern Ohio. The report also pointed out that our zoning and rules and regulations are woefully outdated and hamper the development of mixed use. So it makes it hard for our planning commission to even wrap their arms around what mixed use is. In fact, many of the rules regarding current single-family residential or high-density residential were written in 1961. So basically, we, Wickliffe, we're 63 years out of date. 63 years out of date. We have not improved our zoning code. Many of these rules were created because the stakeholders at that time were afraid of higher density houses, afraid of creativity, and the results have what we're suffering from an incremental death along Euclid Avenue. We're sticking to this Euclidean zoning style. Quote from the study, restrictive zoning requirements on Euclid Avenue are limiting the corridor's potential to become a vibrant destination. And the number one recommendation from our nationally recognized consultant, like everybody else has, the city should focus its efforts on creating mixed-use developments that serve as the face of the community, a recognizable image to attract visitors and businesses. I'm not blaming any one specific group, but our collective lack of activism for change, our fear of change, and our fears of the unknown, these have basically made us think that the less creative are right, and those who want something more creative are misguided. The reality is, whether we suffer with what's familiar than trying something new, the status quo right now seems to be the norm. Unfortunately, I can't find enough people who are willing to help with change, and that saddens me. I'll hold my hope on the development plan. I know the survey that the school board reports 60% want this or that, but I can safely say I'm part of the 40%, and I'll keep advocating for something better for Wickliffe. I believe this is a lost opportunity, but I do believe in representative government, and that's all I got to say.
Councilman Yardstein?
So Tom, we're working on, which is coming up for a public hearing in a couple of weeks. Part of what you said with the mixed use, the Planning Commission has worked on a mixed overlay district, which will cover the development and some of the stuff that you talked about with business, over top of, and that is in the next zoning pack. Zoning, is that May 1st, Council President, the zoning? Or no, the public hearing for Planning Commission's May 2nd. So we'll get that shortly after May 2nd to work on this rezoning. So we have what you said about the study about not fixing the zoning. Planning Commission is taking that on over the summer and into the winter about revamping the zoning. So that should be coming.
I appreciate that. I like it. I don't like the arbitrary line that's driven of how deep it can go. I think it should go through the whole lot, and I'll make that suggestion to planning, but it's a good first step. Thank you.
Mayor.
So, I've talked to you a lot about this. I talk to a lot of people, and when residents come up to me, and what I want, what my personal opinion is, I know, Tom, you're an economic developer, I get that. And what my personal opinion, I would love a legacy village there, right? That's what I want. But I wasn't elected for what I wanted. I was elected for what the majority of the residents and I know I don't talk to 13,000 residents, but I talk to a lot of residents. And they all want a place for that step-up housing, what we don't have in the city, that flies off the market when it's for sale, are these houses on Lloyd Court and these, Kimberly Estates, and they fly off the shelves. And people move to Mentor, Kirtland, Chester, and all these areas when they have more than 2.5 kids, and we don't have a lot, they don't want to be in a ranch or a bungalow. So I do think at the end of the day, where it ain't perfect, where everybody wants, I do think it's a good compromise. And it won't leave us, waiting 8 years down the road for something to get. I think that we're starting to move forward, and I do think this is something that will, make people happy at the end of the day, and bring people into the community. And that's pretty much all I have on that. But that's just what I hear from a lot of residents.
Councilman Garrison.
I'm gonna say, Tom, that when planning commission and the school board and council got together to work on this, everybody went into that room with their own ideas on what they wanted. The school board came in with what, when the planning commission came in, we came in. Nobody got what they wanted, right? It was impossible to get 12 people to agree on what everybody wanted out of that. This compromise here was the best that everybody could compromise on, with the mixed-use overlay and then the residential housing. So in my opinion, it took a long time to get to this zoning map. So I would hope everybody's gonna move it forward. We do have another development shot. If you wanna change something, I would say that everybody, when it goes to the planning commission, and when it goes to the development stage, then everybody should come to that. And then maybe it'll be a little bit smoother when it gets towards the end.
Councilman Taylor. Sure.
As I mentioned, I'm not blaming one specific group. We're collectively 63 years behind, and we weren't prepared as a community to tackle a mixed-use development in a timely fashion for the schools. I understand that. I still think we just have a lost opportunity, and we're losing more and more opportunities as time goes by. So we need to get kind of going on maybe some changes as quick as possible. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sloto.
Yes, I agree. And I think that's really, I just wanted to just clear the air about that, because it's not that I don't think there is a really great opportunity for us to have step-up housing in that spot. I mean, certainly we do need that. And I think it'll be very good for the city to do that. Where I had trepidation, and where I still have trepidation, is, as Tom said, there are not a lot of opportunities for us to move the city ahead and get into a more modern, landscape, and to kind of upgrade Euclid Avenue. And that study, was because I saw that. That's why I came to council, is I really want that for the city. I want to move us forward. I want us not to be the place where everybody, goes to, have their little bungalow, and, and everybody moves and, moves to Mentor. And I don't want any of that. I do agree that it'll be great to have the extra housing. What I wanted to see, though, was more thought put into, embracing the opportunity, and the fact that right at that corner and the center of Wickliffe, we probably should have considered doing some more creative thinking around that. But I understand where everyone's coming from, and certainly I can't imagine somebody saying, no, I don't want upgraded housing, step-up housing in Wickliffe. Of course, everyone wants that. I just don't want to miss the opportunity, and there are very few opportunities. That's a huge one, and that's like the center of our city. And it was a great opportunity, but there aren't too many of them on Euclid Avenue, just because we do have a lot of landowners that are not doing anything with their buildings, and it's very painful to try to move forward. So that was my only issue, but I do understand that everybody put a lot of work into this, and I don't want a great opportunity like this to be thwarted. I just do think that we need to think more creatively moving forward.
Councilman Bella.
Maria, you kind of said it like everybody wants to step-up housing.
Right.
So, I've been to, many communities that, that have the R160s. And if you didn't go to one of these communities, then you'll never understand how nice they are, how clean they are. They're new, they're wonderful, they're gonna sell like crazy.
Yeah.
Tom, I respect your opinion and everything too. But this is an opportunity too, to have those step-up housing, you know, have a beautiful, you know, community within a community. You know, we older folks, I guess I could say, we call Wickliffe a cult, because people never move out, and their families move in. But everybody knows everybody, and that's what's so nice about all these nice houses coming in. So, you know, I agree we should have these step-up housing, and I'm just hoping everybody else wants the same way. So, again, like you said, everybody wants it. It's not, I think if someone goes against it, it's almost a little selfish, because that's what they want, not the people.
Okay, just a point of order that for this to pass, it needs 5 yes votes, as this needs, the ordinance or the chapter says that it needs a 2/3 vote of all members of council. Even if they're absent, it still needs to be 5 votes. Councilwoman Sloto?
Just have one more quick thing.
Sure.
To that point, you know, what Tom shared from that survey was exactly the opposite of what you just said. So a lot of people, yes, that survey said 60% of the people wanted, you know, step-up housing, just simply step-up housing. But that survey said that people wanted much more, and they wanted, you know, they wanted a revitalization, and they wanted Wickliffe to move into the next century, and they wanted Wickliffe to become more of a vibrant Euclid Avenue, you know, landscape. And so the 60% is great. There's more than 60% that say the opposite in that survey. So it's not a selfish thing. It's me trying to think about all those people who said something quite different. So that's all.
My only argument to that is, what's the definition of what's Euclid Avenue streetscape landscape in this lot? That is what I would consider on Lincoln, Arlington, more than I would consider it on Euclid Avenue. Because what's going to be on Euclid Avenue can be part of the new overlay process that we have. But I understand what you're saying, but I don't consider this lot or this R60 plan really a Euclid Avenue plan. This is Lincoln, Arlington, and just Park Silver area. The Euclid Avenue will be general business. It could be mixed use. It's what we're going to go with. It's what's being proposed, I should say. Councilman Gardstein?
I'd like to add, I appreciate both of your passions on your argument, but this is exactly what the Planning Commission has spent since the fall of '23 on, all the way through winter and the spring of this year. We sat in this room and argued for 2 hours a night. So, I mean, if Councilman Jaworski was here, Law Director Ice could tell you, there were some heated arguments that nobody got, right? So, but that was where that this needed to be taken care of. That was the meeting that we should have hashed this out to what everybody wanted, and then maybe everybody would have felt more comfortable with it, right? But to not come to any of the meetings and then do this here at the end, I think, if this fails, I hope the next time this comes, I hope everybody puts the effort in to come back and work through the Planning Commission and spend the time, and then everybody can figure out that they felt like they got something that they wanted.
Well, I'm sorry this is going around and around now, but in my opinion, I don't believe it's the Planning Commission's responsibility to figure out what to do with the land. It's the responsibility of the landowner to bring a proposal and then vote on it, not to design it, not to do anything like that. In most cases, when Russ Burson brings a project to Mentor or wherever, he provides a plan that's already laid out with the roads. Does it connect to Arlington? Does it connect to you know, Lincoln? Where other roads go? I don't know. I'll look in the development plan, but those are the kind of things that I'd like to know. And those are the things that are usually established prior to councils in other communities approving zoning changes. And that's fine. So, and in many instances, planning commissions don't even allow other people to speak other than the members of the planning commission. There's no open public forum during them. There shouldn't be. But that's how I'm used to government work. So.
Well, the workshops that they had weren't. They weren't saying they weren't planning commissions. They were workshops every 2 weeks from, you know.
That's it.
Any further discussion on the ordinance, on the adoption? Sandy, please call the roll.
All right, Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kosky. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Dillman.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance passes.
Ordinance number 2024-25, an ordinance amending section 1305.6 entitled Architectural Review Board of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio. That is the second reading.
Guys, can you keep the chatter down? Can we finish the meeting, please? Thank you.
Ordinance number 2024-30, an ordinance that repeals in toto ordinance number 2019-17 passed February 25th, 2019, and declaring an emergency.
Suspension.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance 2024-30 on third and final reading. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Adoption.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adopt ordinance 2024-30 as presented. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Oh, ordinance passes, sorry.
I was reading. Ordinance number 2024-31, an ordinance amending, this is the first reading, an ordinance amending a section of Chapter 521 entitled Health, Safety, and Sanitation of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio. Ordinance number 2024-32, also first reading, an ordinance enacting Section 521.17 entitled Food Trucks, a section of Chapter 521 Health, Safety, and Sanitation of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Wickliffe, Ohio.
Seeing no resolutions, move on to other legislation. Miscellaneous. Councilman Bala.
Under miscellaneous. Yeah, I stopped in at the grand opening of the boardroom, one of the internet cafes that we had some discussion with, how many you have, not have. It was very well, it was clean, it was wonderful, bright. I went there on a Friday, so it might have been a little bit crowded because people got their paycheck, but other than that, I think they're gonna do pretty well. So make sure you support all Wickliffe businesses, and especially new ones.
Any other miscellaneous? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerhardstein, seconded by Councilman Thielman to adjourn the meeting. Discussion? Sandy, please call the roll.
Ballard.
Yes.
Gerhardstein.
Yes.
Kowski. Yes. Levon.
Yes.
Saloto.
Yes.
Thielman.
Yes.
Thank you.